A woman found me online because of my inflammatory class and said, "You get it. Here you go. Here's how you solve the problem. And we need people in the United States to take care of it." And I'm like, sweet. She's like, what you talk about, she's like, you know exactly how it works. You understand the cell. You understand why. And if you use this as a tool, all of your clientele, everybody you're working with, anybody who comes in contact with you and wants to start solving this problem can finally deacidify the cell and actually get the body to go back to health. So it's really interesting how the paradigm here is one. I know we're kind of getting off topic, but so it's really unique in the process because when I test you with my BMI machine that's inside my office now, I can actually register your total volt meter, your millivolt amperage inside your body, and understand whether or not you have healthy cells on a general basis or unhealthy cells on a general basis. And then, this gives me the idea. Most people are stuck in this highly acidic cell issue, and that's even though you're doing the alkaline water, right? Because here's the problem: is that the cell itself is actually positively charged. In chemistry, positive to positive repels each other away. You can shove as much alkaline water as you want inside the body, and because it's got a positivity charge to it, it won't penetrate. Oxygen won't penetrate in here, magnesium won't penetrate in here, zinc won't penetrate.
So, I really need to know, is this water that we have, it's not necessarily really good.
It's good for cleansing the intracellular space and the digestive tract, and you can use it on the skin, and it can pull material through the skin, and that's really great for it to be like a beauty. But this goes down, and because it's actually, this is a 12.5 on the pH scale water. And it's a sustained 12.5, not to where you have to get it out of the machine and take it immediately, but a sustained 12.5.
How's it going to do that?
It's the only question they want to answer from me.
Oh, yeah. I just have to know.
I know it's magnetics. I know it's magnetics. But the difference I think also is that they're sourcing water from a very particular place in the world and then using that's probably already pre-programmed to be a little bit on the alkaline or have a certain type of mineralization to then go through the electrolysis or the vortexing machine in order to pull out just this fraction here. Now, the cool thing is they're not ready to release it to me yet. They have a patented LIMES protocol that they're now maybe even getting some studies done on things like AIDS and herpes and polio, because really it's the same type of thing. But they actually, what they do is for 6 weeks, you do every other hour while you're awake the other type of water. So you would take 25 milliliters of the hydroxyl water, which is what we have here, that's the Cosnergy, and then you would actually take in 25 milliliters of the hydrogen, the other side of this equation, and it would switch the whole system back and forth, and you would literally be interchanging it so much that the virus compounds, the invading pathogens can't maintain themselves. They can't adapt that fast. So you are, actually programming the body to destroy anything other than your cell, because your cell can figure this out. Your cell knows how to do it, but viruses, bacteria, funguses, they don't. They don't have as strong of a system in. So our whole point is to get it back to this very, very high negative charge on the outside of the cell in order to get it to where you finally start absorbing calcium, magnesium, zinc, oxygen, all the positive.
Be a problem.
That's the issue. And we try so hard to use positivity to affect positively charged cells, and that's the breakdown. So this company 14 years ago, you can go ahead and have that, 14 years ago started using the Beamer mats when they first were brought to the market and found a huge advancement, but they were still getting people who were vegetarian diet, lots of alkalinity, totally trying to balance their body, still showing up in terms of their cellular levels being acidic.
What about the Celica and the Cell Power?
They help, but a lot of this programs the interstitial fluids and the stuff around the cells, not so much the cells themselves. And that's a big difference. So we're really seeing this change. All right. Like I say, I apologize that I have blown through the start for tonight's talk in talking about this, but we had a small group, so I'm sorry I took a little time away. Please forgive me. I'll make sure I recap a little bit later. All right.
You want your own time, that's all that matters.
Everybody should be sitting with a, oh, come on, tell me you're going to do your job. I want you to hold one. I want you to hold one. I want you to hold one and you hold one.
Oh.
All right, so we are focusing solely on GI Rescue tonight. We are really trying to use this product properly. And I really want people to understand why this product was so necessary to bring to the shelf and allow it to be something that we're no longer requiring everybody to learn how to mix this themselves. We wanted to actually have it be something that you could just do quickly, right away, anytime you find yourself in any type of digestive distress, and be able to start to help the human body or anybody you know. I like the whole idea of empowering you to be able to go into your world, your family, your life, and actually go, hey, I have a solution for that. You've got a major stomach issue, you've got some leaky gut syndrome, you've got some IBS, you've got some type of inflammatory issue in the gut. Here's a solution. Go ahead, try it, and start affecting people's health. Because I think after you've been here a year, I should really certify everybody. I think I'm going to start figuring something out to where I can have it to be one of those things like, yep, you check marked or whatever, enough classes, you know more than the average bear, and you can go out and you can do this yourself. No, there's more to it than that, but it helps. It definitely helps. So, we didn't breathe because I was talking. Do you guys want to breathe? Yes, let's breathe. Okay, we'll do our breathing real quick. So for everyone who's never been to a class, I'm really sorry. I'm not explaining anything. You'll have to catch up and figure out. We're going to do a conscious breathing exercise. We'll just get right to it. 7 seconds of breath in. Holding, and then 8 seconds of breath out. All the way down to nothing. 7 seconds of breath back in. Much bigger, better. And then 8 seconds of breath out. All the way down to nothing. And 30 seconds of just normal, natural, easy breathing. Fantastic, thank you. All right, so I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you can correct your digestive system, you can typically solve any problem in the body. Typically. It's always going to go back to something in the gut.
Even the brain.
Even the brain, exactly. The idea is that we are nothing more than a human wrapped around the gut. I mean, that's really the way I like to think about it, because it really is that way. You watch this little blastome of a life occur, and right when we get to that very beautiful 2 to 3 generation cell differential, we already start developing the gut system. We already start making this tube that we try so hard to take care of, and just gets purposed into all the different things that we needed to do to process the world. So I really want people to see and feel and understand that what you have in your hand right now, for people who are following us online through one of the services, the idea is that GI Rescue is available at rawrevelations.com. It's a fantastic product for getting you control over inflammatory and gut health issues. And we really want you to see what this means. So I'm going to break this down pretty well, pretty deeply. The reasons why we're inflamed, everyone here, I think, has gone through a lot of these classes to understand. We are suffering from poisonous food, poisonous water, poisonous air, and there's not anything that I can technically do minus make some decision, some effort in trying to control that as much as possible. But with contamination the way it is these days, it's just ever present. So we have to learn some of this mentality, and GI Rescue gives us a recipe that actually focuses solely on healing the gut system. So I love the whole process here. Now, because of all the contamination, we have a lot of people who are highly allergic to food types, food sources, food materials, peanut allergies because of vaccines, dairy allergies because of all of the hormones and pesticides in them, gluten allergy because of all the pesticide and insecticides and craziness inside those. And the list just goes on and on and on as to why we are reactive to benign foods. Benign foods, foods that really should have no issue going inside the human body as a material. I understand why we are allergic to things like antifreeze, bleach. That makes sense. I get that. We're allergic to arsenic and lead and nickel and paint and like I get that. That makes sense. It's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But when we're allergic to food, that bothers me. That means there's something else going on, and we have to understand it deeply. And I think it's really unique because we are a society in this country especially that just stresses to the point where we shut our digestive system down. And then the problem I find is that the solutions that are offered either cause more stomach distress or we aren't nutrified enough to even heal the inside of our digestive tract. So we end up with things like leaky gut. We end up with things like ulcerations. We get low bilirubin count. We start eroding the actual protective coating on the inside. Or we burn the villi with foods that again, or acids that aren't properly digested because our pancreases are under stress. So our solutions actually end up creating bigger and bigger problems. We love to take antacid tablets or Prilosec or Tagamet or some sort of prescription that just makes the problem compounding levels worse and worse. So that's why we're in trouble. That's why we have this major condition. And I am so tired of hearing and finding people who are technically dealing with lymphatic and blood sepsis because their leaky gut's gotten so bad, they're just sieving material into the rest of their stomach cavity, and it's just sitting there putrefying the rest of their organs. It's just sad. I mean, that's what's happening for a lot of people, is you're getting little tears, little leaks through that gut system, and it's just some undigested food or some acid going out and causing major damage in the abdominal cavity. So we really need to understand why it's important to get rid of things like leaky gut and starting to really benefit our bodies with products like the GI Rescue here. And it really is that. I mean, it's calling out the Coast Guard kind of style rescue that we're really needing inside our gut health. I mean, that's where we're at today. So a ton of issues that are just going on. So the breakdown here is this. GI Rescue is focused around some really amazing herbs. And I love to talk about the first class and category of these herbs. And that's things like aloe vera, slippery elm bark, and L-glutamides or glutamate powders. This classification is what will actually take the place of the broken down areas where you're no longer producing the right level of lymph or bilirubin, the protective mucus coating, and they'll actually gel up on the areas where things aren't as healthy or as functional anymore. So does everyone know how an ulcer works or how an ulcer forms or what it does or,
I have, especially when I was just a teenager.
You were a teenager and had ulcers, yeah.
I didn't know until I was in my 20s, always in the hospital, always in hospital. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And then finally, I just did my own research and found out that whatever is going on in here, I had changed something. I don't know what. I really got into reading about nutrition and changing things and like bringing enzymes and not eating certain things, not drinking
Not
things
creating
like
the
alcohol or living a lifestyle that wasn't going to keep me healthy. Because if I was already sick as a young adult, I wasn't going to make it.
Right.
I was sitting wrong.
Yeah. So it's unique because here everybody can kind of think of it like this. If you're chewing food very excitedly or while talking, all of a sudden you clip the side of your cheek.
Yeah.
The idea is you pop a little hole in the wall of the inner side of the epithelial cells inside your cheek. And you can feel the divot, you've got the hole there, and yet our cheek is and the epithelial cells are so amazing. Honestly, if you can leave your tongue out of it for more than about 12, 24 hours, it's healed right back up. And the stomach and the intestines should react about the same way. Stomach's a little bit tough, but the intestines, kind of similar cell types, very similar to epithelial cells. And yet, the problem is that we will get things like caked on, stuck on, gunky, trans fat, gel plastic material stuck in little nooks and crannies. And just like if we put a piece of duct tape on the outer part of your dermis and then ripped it off, the idea is it keeps getting stuck and lodged into those little nooks and crannies, and it's causing an irritation or a blister to form. And that blister can't heal itself well if we don't have our lymph, if we don't have the bilirubin there as a protective coating. So things like aloe vera and slippery elm allow to soothe those areas over, just like putting lotion or oil or something on an outside epidermis blister. It'll help cool that. Vitamin E, again, is one of these great things that we know causes for cell regeneration on the skin. So when we see things like slippery elm bark and then again L-glutamine is a amino acid that actually goes in and relinks cells together after they've been broken. So when we're trying to rebuild cell walls, we're trying to get glutamate to form, and that glutamate turns into glutamic acid. Glutamic acid fills in the holes and causes the cells where they're broken to repair themselves and bridge the tiny little sieve spots. So ulcerations, again, that's a large hole. I mean, and for most people who don't understand, you can have ulcers that are just open sores. You can have bleeding ulcers, meaning they've gone into the deep tissue of the intestines, and then you could have perforations and actually ulcers that go all the way through the intestinal or stomach lining, and you're leaking material out into the abdominal cavity. So not good at all.
Would that be like someone who's alcoholic?
Oh yeah, well alcohol just causes those sugar bacteria to constantly be fermented, and they're just tearing things apart, and they're just never able to heal back. So it's really unique. I mean, especially if it's a type of alcohol like a beer or a wine or a mixed drink that's got a lot of sugar to it. Yeah. If it's just clean, clear alcohol, honestly, it's maybe not doing as much of a damaging job, but people who like to have mixed drinks or beer or wine too frequently, that type of alcohol and the sugar reaction, it does make things a lot worse.
You said it never repairs?
Well, no, it will, once you stop drinking, or once you stop creating the irritation.
I know they were always drinking Bacardi just straight, and they had a lot of these gut problems, ulcers.
Bacardi with the caramel coloring that's added to it to make it that color is adding technically syrup and alcohol together. That's why. When you're drinking clear, then typically you're going to be a little bit better. If it's just a sip of whiskey, a little bit better. Vodka is just a little bit better. Not that I'm saying everyone should be jumping over and starting the alcoholic trend or whatever, going, hey, I'm healthy, I'm having 6 shots tonight. No, that's not what we're saying here. But it is one of those where, yes, alcoholism does contribute to the digestive distress. And you think of the cycle. There's a big cycle, vicious cycle, in how you treat your digestive system if you're an alcoholic. I mean, you're eating foods improperly, you're eating late maybe, you're not sleeping well, there's just a ton of other issues going on. So we see that. But those 3 things, the aloe vera, the slippery elm, and the L-glutamate, they actually cause the tissue lining of the intestines to start to heal, to be able to actually not be porous anymore and to start repair that area. Hopefully giving your body enough time to reintroduce its own lymph and create the bilirubin again and do its own natural healing. But there is concerns or issues when we see, especially Dr. Andrew Wakefield's material on seeing vaccinations and mercury contamination and aluminum contamination in cells. It can actually shut the epithelial cells down and the nervous connections and the blood flow to where it doesn't regrow very effectively until you finally detox those compounds out. And that's one of the major contributors we've seen in his research to why the gut-brain connection for so many children is shut down, is that their intestines aren't digesting any food anymore, they're not absorbing anything because everything's been eroded away and their brain is suffering from that type of malnutrition. So very interesting relationship there to where we have a lot of contributors to this whole issue. But so we want to really do what we can do to heal those cells, to get the cells to finally try to repair themselves. And then what's so unique is we really want to do the second step or the second stage, and that's allow for probiotic to be added back to the body and for it to actually habitate properly. I always say to people when they come in and they see me when they have gut issues that we need to change the environment of the colon. And what I mean by that is that you could go into a person and technically just throw a bunch of really very helpful, very expensive probiotic into a bad environment, and they'll all just keep dying. They won't seed. They won't actually recapitulate the area and get the environment of the colon to be helpful. So a lot of people believe that, oh, I'm just going to take my one probiotic tablet at 20 billion count or 50 billion count, and that's going to solve the problem. And yet you're dealing with an order of 100 to 500 trillion external bacteria cells that are inside your body. And that's one of these really interesting places to understand, is that when you add in a few billion to something in the trillions, you're not going to make a big effect. It's throwing a little drop in the bucket.
I take like 6 or 7 a night.
Probiotics?
Yeah. Like there's 100 or more billion.
Perfect. That's a good starter dose. I bring people in with major issues, and I'm sometimes doing 500 billion count for the course of 30 to 60 days to really change the way the body is operating. Because that's the numbers you got to play with. It's never going to fix itself if you do the tiny numbers. So we have to have an effect. But it's unique because if we don't change the environment, then you can put all the probiotic you want in there, and it's just never going to have the change you're looking for. You're never going to be able to break your food down. Everybody has a very specific blend of probiotic that you need inside your body to get what type of food you normally expose yourself broken down so it doesn't become a whole bunch of toxic compounds. So that's the important piece in probiotics. So when you have things like Baobab, when you have things like the ginger, these are changing this anaerobic environment and actually allowing for the food to be delivered to the probiotic and for them to start to heal themselves. People who've gone through chemo, intravenous antibiotics, different types of drug compounds from the pharmaceutical system, they will shut down the ability for probiotic to live in your body. And then we see things like C. diff or H. pylori or some of these other bacteria overgrowing. Candida overgrowth, which we talked about on Tuesday, and class on Saturday is going to focus on really healthful foods at Artisan's Palate to have during these holiday season that are a little bit better for the biome, for the gut flora, and not be as destructive as what we get for most of the sweet treat holiday foods that we love to eat at this particular time of the year. So the ginger and the probiotic or the Baobab are really helping the probiotic start to have its best function and give it the best chance it can have. I'm also really against people taking probiotic every single day. It's very weird. A lot of people think you need it, and it's an absolutely essential vitamin to have, and they use it like that in very, very low amounts, and it just doesn't have the effect we really want it to. And that to me is a great place of understanding that I want it to have an effect, and then I want to step back after about 30 or 60 days and see how's your breakdown of food. Are you getting digestive bloating? Are you getting digestive distress? Do you have regular bowel movements? Is everything working? Or do we need to go and change the type of probiotic that's coming in and go to a completely different set of strains? Because if you just take the same 12, 15, whatever, and you really don't see a change in how your body's breaking food down, we got to switch to something else. We got to change this up.
Totally do that. I agree with that.
Yep.
Some days it's good.
Oh yeah, of course. But that's where fermented foods come in as a great way of understanding things like kombucha, fajitas, different types of fermented foods like sauerkrauts and kimchis and pickles and all these other weird things that a lot of people have forgotten. They are important to give you a variety of material. Yes, you should abide by the 3 to 5, maybe 40-second rule for dropping food on the ground. It's okay, unless it's literally, right next to the toilet, then maybe you don't want to eat that. But you shouldn't be eating near the toilet anyways. You should just, if something falls, grab the little chip, pick it up, you're fine. Trust me. You need a little bit of that dirt in your body. Share a snack with your dog. If you have a dog, give him half your hot dog, eat the other half the hot dog. That way you can have some different probiotics inside the body. But it's really unique here because it's about changing the environment. And GI Rescue has the items that are necessary to actually make a switch and help those new probiotics start to live a much better way. And that's through Baobab and things like ginger. Really, really key and critical to this whole product's function. And now we're going to switch over to the higher order function material that's inside the GI system. And that's things like lion's mane Lion's mane's a really interesting, great way of understanding how to enhance those tissues and the nervous system. Inside your gut system is just a ton of vascular material and a ton of nervous system tissues. Lots of nerve fibers, lots of tiny capillaries for you to be able to absorb material and for your body to know the relationship to what you're digesting. It's just full of these tiny little cells, and lion's mane mushroom does a fantastic job of helping all of that redevelopment back into the body. So we really love the whole ability, and it really fixes a lot of the issues where if we've had a lot of gut distress, the gut-brain connection as well too. The dendrites in the nervous system that's up inside the skull requires a lot of this lion's mane mushroom to advance its healing as well too.
Where's that around here in line?
Lion's mane's in the GI Rescue now, and it's also in our Immunity Matrix blend. So inside the medicinal mushrooms, instead of it being a product that's out here by itself, like the cordyceps or the reishi powder or the chaga, those mushrooms we have by themselves. We've usually had the lion's mane in one of the blends in order for people. But so it really has this great function for redeveloping the nervous system and regrowing tissue inside the human body, as well as spirulina. Because one of the nice things about this GI Rescue is that if you've been malnourished from intestinal distress for a long period of time, there's really just such amazing superfoods and getting your body back to some good health. And that to me is that nice relationship, because we really want spirulina to be your main food source if you've had a lot of nutritional deficiencies. It really is nature's multivitamin. It's got everything from the DHA, some vitamin D, all the way through vitamins A, E, and K, the fat-soluble ones, all the way into all the minerals, and it's easy for the body to break down. So we're not actually having a ton of digestive distress occurring. We're actually letting things be very calm and easy to absorb. And that to me is so important when it comes to rescuing the actual GI system. So we really want the gastro system to finally get some benefits. And that's where this rescue blend makes it really simple, really easy. You're just taking a couple tablespoons of this and adding it to warm water if you want to do a tea. Warm nut milk or other types of herbal teas like chaga or pau d'arco can be a great blend here. And this relationship is one where a lot of times with raw relations, everything we have in the shelves is kind of designed in the mindset that, well, if you're already doing a couple of these other items, we can just kind of tack them on. So this can really just be a part of your daily shake smoothie, your protein drinks. You can mix it into anything from like pancakes. You can throw it into certain types of raw chocolates, cookies, breads, things like that. This can work inside all of those. It can have some effect. We make a mean blueberry ice cream here, and you could literally have GI Rescue added right to that blend, and it would work just as well and be a part of your dietary structure that you need in order to heal. And yes, this is one of those things that most people observe digestive distress as an age-related issue, and it's really not. It's a toxicity-induced issue. It has nothing to do with I'm getting older, so I just expect that to be the case for my body. Again, a lot of children with their toxicity levels are dealing with this issue very early on. Yes?
Whenever I have the maca or eat berries, which I used to do all the time, I have a problem.
Yep. They can ferment a little bit.
Instantly.
The maca can have a little bit of excitation, so it has a lot of high-level adrenal energy and hormone balance parts to maca. So not only is it could be a very intense stimulant, but it can actually change the hormone profile for a person pretty quickly as well too.
It's almost like acid reflux.
Acid reflux, so yeah, there's probably some bonding, or because it's a very high fiber food, it's maybe causing some material that's inside the stomach to push up to the top.
So is that a good thing?
And I wouldn't say it's a good thing because it probably hurts. But it's one of those where it might be telling you that there's some other issue, some other, those systems where you can see where maca is maybe giving you too much energy and it's causing your stomach to crimp, to cinch down and to tighten, and it's shoving that acid up to the top of the esophagus. And that happens for a lot of people who are adrenal fatigued and have adrenal exhaustion. Then once those adrenal glands get hit again and you get a stimulant added to your body, it causes everything to tense up and you want to run around and move instead of, and that can disrupt the stomach a little bit. So, like I say, the stomach's processing as best it can. Maca inherently isn't usually an issue for acid reflux, but I can see how the adrenal gland connection could cause that condition to occur. So especially if there's other stressors, then maca could do something like that.
Did you say that food can ferment in the belly or the colon?
Both.
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 And
If
on-
it gets outside of the colon, it's going to ferment because there's nothing digesting it. And that's a major issue for leaky gut syndrome.
And then on the spirulina, can you also, spirulina, sometimes we do the chlorella or
Chlorella.
other green, the
Yep.
barley green.
Barley's not the same. It's not nearly as broad spectrum. Moringa is a little bit more of a broad spectrum food because of the protein absorption and the mineral base that moringa has. Barley's a really great grass powder, and I really love it. But it's definitely one of those where moringa is kind of the powerhouse when it comes to a multi-mineral like spirulina, to be a protein and something that's going to add a lot of great nutritional density to the body. But so that's where these combinations can really come in, and they can be a benefit and a support to the system and allow for you to start feeling much more effect. We just brought out the golden milk blend, which was another great addition that I didn't throw on my list, so I want to make a mention of it first, because this Ayurvedic herbal blend not only is major anti-inflammatory, but mood support, hormone support, energy support, and really a great way that these two can even work together very quickly, very effectively. I love adding turmeric to the blend that we have here, and that's where the golden milk would be such a beautiful addition into making a shake smoothie that's just based on that kind of curry sort of turmeric blend that this has here. Really good herbal concoction meant for anti-inflammatory, digestive protective, mood protective, and really, really good item by itself. But if you're having a lot of stomach distress, if you know somebody who's in trouble right now and they're steps away from getting gastric surgery of some sort, then we want them to start using something like GI Rescue and add some of the golden milk blend or turmeric powder to it. Very, very good. It is. That's what makes it that beautiful color.
Well, I think turmeric.
Yep. So keep with
I
it.
need that one.
It's tasty, but as long as you're getting the turmeric, that's the most important thing to me. But I love for this to actually be one of those places where, with the blend that we have inside this mixture for the GI Rescue, you could simply add some camu-camu-berry for a little bit extra vitamin C, a little antiviral. If you're a person who's come away from taking an antibiotic because you had some sort of necessity for antibiotic, then getting rid of some of that digestive distress. There's a lot of oxidation that's going on inside that area, a lot of die-off, a lot of death from the other cells that were killed by the antibiotic. And the camu-camu-berry can really have a tremendous benefit for alleviating any of that vitamin C need for the human body. As well as this, because of that gut-brain connection and the fact that 97, 98% of our hormones are made in the gut, then a lot of the serotonin that you're missing. There's a lot of unhappy people with a lot of inflamed intestines, and they don't know why, and that's because a majority of their serotonin comes from the inside creation there of the gut system. So when your gut inflamed, not digesting properly, then we really do need to understand the relationship. Camu-camu on top of this blend, phenomenal addition to what we see inside there. Phenomenal addition. Then we have things like the magnesium topically after using GI Rescue for a few days. If you're a person who's suffering from a lot of inherent or very chronic constipation and you're really not eliminating bowels well, get that magnesium with the gel right on top of the stomach surface. Let the GI move material through a little bit easier and loosen things up in the bowels, and let that magnesium really flush through the body and allow for it to be much more helpful.
Yeah, there is one for that.
The Trafala.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
So
That you take about 6 or sundown.
sundown,
Tea.
and that's very easy. Some people Trafala is not strong enough, and GI Rescue, if they're having a major chronic issue or if they're a child and they don't even like the flavor of Trafala, that's kind of tough sometimes to get it. The GI Rescue has a really good, just over neutral tone, and it can be added to a lot of different foods in order to see some benefit. Yes, Trafala is a great digestive herb, and Trafala goes very well with the GI Rescue for people who are trying to rehabilitate their organ, their bowel system. Really. So Trafala is the herbal Triphala, Triphala. Triphala. Triple berry? Yeah, this one's been here forever. That's what this means. Actually means triple energy, but the really, yeah, so Triphala has a very long-standing history in Ayurvedic medicine for being the go-to for stomach indigestion and necessity for stomach support, just like the golden milk is as well too.
Well, like I said, I wasn't having any trouble until you didn't have any ghee anymore.
And then you had the ghee, yeah, without the ghee, exactly. Got to get those good fats in there.
So if I don't have that, I might get it somewhere else, I suppose. But I did buy that odd one at the store I didn't like. Yeah, it was a different ghee that tastes like plastic.
Yeah, the blue label one.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, it
like
tastes
that.
like plastic. I know.
Still in the refrigerator.
Yeah. It's not good.
Coconut oil?
Coconut oil, sunflower oil, macadamia nut oil, avocado oil, hemp oil, whatever oil you like. But get oils back in there. And that way you can lubricate the internal digestive system and get things to flush through more
What
effectively.
are the good oils? Safflower?
No, safflower's no good. None of that, yeah. No, the really amazing healthy oils that I recommend for people are, again, coconut oil, very helpful. Ghee is a very helpful oil.
Yeah.
I like avocado oil because it's omega-9. Hemp oil is another good omega-9 donor as well too. Sunflower oil, really, really nice, as well as macadamia nut oil.
And walnut.
Walnut oil can be okay, but for people who have a lot of digestive distress, it can be a little too cleansing. So it is a good oil, but there's a lot of people who have issues if they jump right onto walnut oil. Because it will kill parasites pretty quick, pretty fast, which is a good thing, but it also can flush you out really bad.
It's a good brand for the avocado oil.
Avocado, I like Bella Vita. Yeah, they're a great local company, and I really enjoy them.
That would be avocado infused.
Nope, no, it's actually straight pressed avocado in order to get that really high.
Always that cold pressed.
Yep. So the other thing I like to mix with the GI Rescue is the goji berry powder as well too, because a lot of times, again, because of the hormone distress, we're needing this HGH function. And not only is there, again, good vitamin C in goji berry, not as much as camu, but the HGH function for tissue regeneration. And if you're a person who's really felt a lot of inflammation over time and you've been dealing with a lot of stomach distress, then that HGH level is going to get you back to some good cellular vitality very quickly. And I really like the combination of people working with something like that for a period of time in order to see some health return to those tissues as they're trying to enhance their body.
I just ask, like, these are powdered foods and often from around the world, of course, but like, is it just better to eat goji berries and chew it and all that? Or
if you had the tree and it was fresh goji berry, plump ripe, that'd be fantastic. But we don't. Most of it's dried out. And when they dry them out, they're either putting sulfur oxide powder on them, or they could be putting different types of material to preserve them. Different sugars even get added to them to keep them a little bit on the sweeter side instead of going tart. So it just depends on how they're treated. Ron Teagarden with Dragon Herbs does have a really nice, still plump kind of wet goji berry that's only partially dried out. So those are really tasty, and I really enjoy those. But when you dry these material out, the reason why I love this goji powder is it's actually freeze-dried right there when they pick the goji berries. So they're freeze-drying the goji berries, grinding them down, and then you're getting the best protection in all of the beta-carotene molecules and everything that's in the phytos, all the different phyto compounds inside the goji berry as well.
I have a goji tree.
Yeah.
It didn't produce this year, and it doesn't like wind.
Yeah.
But first couple of years, it was great.
Yeah, it's tough in this area. Gojis are not supposed to grow here,
Yeah.
and transplanting them doesn't make them any stronger at doing it. So it's tough, even if they are in their own little pot. You're doing the best you can to keep them in a semi-tropical environment. They're supposed to be in an arid semi-tropical environment.
Okay, I'll put
And
it in
that's-
the greenhouse.
Yeah, so put it inside the greenhouse and give it its own little tent even, and we'll let a lot of good humidity and moisture surround it. They're meant to be in really good thick growth forests, and that's one of those. Look at the natural locations that, like Heaven Mountain, where the goji berries in China are growing, and you can see the environment and go, okay, how can I reproduce that if I have that opportunity? They have like the Vista Exotic Tree Farm is another great place to visit because they try to mimic the different areas as well too. Or the University of California Riverside's Botanical Gardens, they have the biome collection where they show each of the different areas and the tropical fruit trees, and you can see goji berries kind of growing at least a little bit more of a curated area that's a little bit more helpful. So that has a nice benefit to it.
But wouldn't it also agree with the right plants that can work with
Correct.
that?
Exactly. And that's why it's tough here.
And the chia seeds, so you said not to get the ground down chia seeds, but to get chia seed itself.
Correct. And
So-
then do your grind.
So what is chia seed compared to, like, let's say the goji berry? Because like you want, this is okay powdered, but not the chia seed, so what's?
Right. The difference here is that when you tear apart a chia seed, this unlocks the oils, and the oils go rancid. Versus there's really not a lot of oil, technically speaking, inside a goji plant and a goji berry that you have to worry about going rancid. So when it's freeze dried, it's perfectly protected. But that's the difference between when you grind a seed.
Do you have to grind those?
No, you don't. You can just buff
I
them up right
have
into
the
there.
coconut milk and the chocolate and shake it up.
Uh-huh. And that's perfect. Yep. Yeah, making that. And chia seeds are fantastic, even with this GI Rescue blend as well too. The other thing that I think is really unique is that the B vitamin support. And one of the nice places here to mention that is because so many B vitamins are so critical in the rest of the digestive process. If you've had a lot of digestive distress for a long period of time, then the B vitamins are just so critical to get back into your body. And by supplanting the digestive path and doing a sublingual, you're going to have so much more effect and better energy and just start to feel so much stronger. So if you can't do a liquid variety like this under the tongue, go get an injectable if you've had a lot of the stomach distress for a long period of time, and that way you can actually get it into the tissues, you get it into the bloodstream and see some benefits from it really quickly.
And how much do you take? You want to shake?
Average person's 1 to 2 teaspoons on the B vitamins. Yeah, that's a good place to start for the day. Definite benefits there. The next,
1 to 2 teaspoons?
yep, or the little droppers that come out of here. I think it's a
2 droppers per
1 little milliliter here.
Yeah. So you take a full dropper?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, 1 to 2 of those. Really good place to start. And then we see things like the rice bran solubles, which I really, really enjoy because everything inside the GI Rescue has a nice benefit for being thick and gelatinous and calming and soothing. And this adds some bulk to the actual the colon and the fecal material to help push things through and just get things to eliminate much more fully and completely. And so the rice bran solubles is a great addition to what the GI Rescue blends already has established.
What's the difference between the tropical magnesium versus the straight up?
Topical.
Did I spell tropical? That's my fault if I did that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, topical. Okay, yeah. Then yes, the topical again. It's nice because the skin is really good at absorbing it, getting into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
If you're taking a pill or an internal digested magnesium, a lot of times that's going to just work like a laxative. So it just depends on your body and what you're really trying to get out of the effect of the magnesium. And I'm a person where you just can't get enough magnesium. So lather it on, drink it down, put it in as much as possible. Yep, put it right onto the scalp, definite.
You know,
So is that considered topical?
This is topical.
Oh.
That's correct.
it stings if you have cuts.
Oh yes,
You know?
yes it does.
And I went without.
Is it
for a while.
purifying the cut?
No, it's just, I mean, it is cleansing, yeah, it is killing things, but it is one of those where, yeah, it hurts when the skin's raw and everything like that
But
right
does
now.
iodine hurt too with the cut?
Not really. Iodine doesn't burn nearly as much.
No, I don't think
But,
so. Neither is spilled.
Why would you run it into the scalp?
I mean, you're just using it there because there's a ton of need for magnesium in the silica and the oils around the top of the scalp. There's a lot of people who are unnecessarily losing their hair. And I don't know about you, but I want to look like Jim when I'm Jim's age. Because Jim's got that nice, big, full, thick head of hair that you can run your hands through. And that shows good health. I mean, that shows a good, solid, strong, gut system, good hormone balance, and great health.
Great
Keep
gut
it
system.
thick.
It's
Yeah.
great gut. I don't know anyone who has better gut system.
Yeah, keep it healthy, keep it thick. Good relationship there. But yeah, you can put the magnesium right onto the scalp, and for anybody who's dealing with migraine headaches any type of neck or upper cervical vertebrae stress, just put it right to the back of the skull. A lot of anxiety condition sufferers, they need to calm their amygdala down and get their brain to start actually decreasing its stressors. That's a great relationship.
And then you'd probably have to wash your hair.
Yeah, every day or so. I mean, yeah, I mean like
Wash
normal.
it too.
I don't find every other day.
But you can work it into the scalp a little bit if it's just on your fingers, more so than actually putting it over top of your whole hair. So that helps.
Did you say the silica you can put in your scalp too?
You can, but you gotta dilute it. So don't put this directly on. You can use a few other types because the cell power can work as a chemical
If
solvent.
you drop any on your clothing, if there's a hole.
On what, the silica?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Cell power.
You gotta be careful with that
Cell power. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's again it's a bioactive compound and it actually works as a metabolizer. It's not an acid. It's a metabolizer. So it's an enzyme and it actually will eat through organic tissue.
Okay, I understand that, but it is a alkaline.
Correct. Correct. And that's kind of the difference that we see for a lot of people, like we were talking earlier about the interstitial fluids. A lot of xenobiotics, a lot of different compounds that are not supposed to be there, and this will help eat them away and clear them out. So yeah, there is some benefit to that.
I just squirt every day in the water, and sometimes I squeeze a lemon in that.
Yeah.
And I have amazing energy when you're dragging and
Yeah.
doing that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
what energy.
Absolutely.
Like the brain works and everything works.
That's exactly right. It's creating some major benefits. So like I say, I really thank you all for coming here and beginning to understand this particular product and knowing that you have a place to go to. If you're experiencing stomach distress, let this be something that's in your cabinet so you can go to this first instead of seeing some type of issue where you're getting an over-the-counter medicine, talking to a friend who has this particular issue. Let this be their start. Maybe they're not ready for something like MSM right away. But you could say, hey, listen, take this and calm your stomach, and then let's talk and let's see if we can start working on your health and get in here to Thursdays and let them hear a little more details about what you can do.
We didn't talk too much about aloe vera and slippery elm.
Yeah.
The very first one.
Since you were writing.
Well, I'm listening.
Huh?
I was gonna say, on my,
I don't know what it was.
my blood, they said I'm very deficient vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
What would
Vitamin D.
oh, okay.
10 drops a day, minimum. So start quick, get it up there.
Okay, there's 2 of them.
Because if a doctor says you're deficient, that means you're really deficient in my book. I want to see you somewhere between like 65 and 85, just for a minimum. And doctoring system, if you're above 30, they're like, yay, good job. It's not helpful.
What's the function then?
Function, everything: tissue regeneration, nervous regeneration, blood, brain, immune function, nervous health, enzymes, hormone. Yeah, there isn't anything that we don't use vitamin D with.
Okay.
Yep, really, really good relationship there.
And if someone's waking up at 3 o'clock every morning,
Liver stress.
they're stressful.
Yep.
Not good.
Get them on the MSM, get them on Chazondraberry, something like that first, and start there and see if they can start working that out.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
What's that berry you said? What berry?
Chazondra?
How is that acid?
Yeah, it's